Hey guys, I'm Andrew from Deity Microphones. Welcome back to the channel for a very special announcement. As you can tell from what's on the table, we are announcing brand new timecode products from Deity Microphones officially, publicly. What's going to be great about today's thing is we're going to go into the nitty-gritty details of all the products you see here on this desk, including our brand new app. If you have questions, because this is a live event, drop them down in that comment section below. We have people offline who are grabbing those questions and putting them up on a monitor for me to answer throughout the broadcast, as well as a Q&A section at the very end. Now, we're going to talk about these things, but before I can really get into the specs and the features of these, let's actually see how they look on a real set. Follow me. Let's see how our ecosystem operates. Here we have the TC-SL1. It's the world's first Bluetooth timecode slate. Thank you. What makes this a fantastic new device from us is one, wireless syncing to your phone. That's pretty cool. But also brand new battery system that means no more AA's, no more having to scrounge around and find last little bits of loose batteries and know whether or not they're dead or not. You can charge the batteries via the bottom of this slate using a 25-watt USB-C charger. Here on the side, we actually have a switch that covers up so that we don't have to worry about someone turning off your film slate. And here we have a dial that operates our OLED screen on the back, so you can operate this whole thing without the phone app. So right here we have a full menu system, a display of our timecode, as well as any kind of settings we need to do or resetting of the Bluetooth module. Fantastically, it also can be operated with only one hand for one-handed operation using the built-in handle and thumb hole notch. Here on the side, you can see we support two different kinds of inputs, old school classic TRS 1/4 jack and 5-pin LEMO. So whatever type of device you have, if all you're looking for is to get a slate into your ecosystem, we support you in every single type of cable that you operate. And here at the top, you can see we can also operate for tail sticks. Isn't that cool? The whole TC-SL1 is built out of a single piece of solid aluminum with wooden sticks, so it is built for durability. So that's going to sum up some of the awesome features of the TC-SL1. Now remember, I said that was one piece of a full ecosystem from us at Deity. Now let's take a look at the other side of that ecosystem. Here on this RE Mini, you can see a TC1 box. This is our wireless timecode box that can be jammed up via the phone, same Bluetooth app as our slate. But what's really awesome is it can also act as a timecode generator, which means from here, I could set my timecode on this big giant 1-inch OLED display and then sync that out to the rest of my film set. Now, the other thing you're going to quickly notice is the fact that it's not using a yellow Deity cable. Well, we're actually using a third-party cable with this. So if you out there own a timecode box that is 3.5 millimeter and you have a bunch of cables already, you're good to go. We have you covered. The transition to Deity couldn't be easier. Now, I said this can sync up to other boxes and other cameras. So let's take a look at one of those other cameras right now. And that's this guy right here, the C300 Mark III. Now, what's great about it is it has a locking, BNC connector. And we are actually able to use our Deity cable, that 3.5 millimeter locking connector, to BNC. Now, on launch day, when the TC1 comes out in the middle of June, there's going to be 3 cables that we do launch along with it. This one right here, the 3.5 millimeter to BNC, but we're also launching 2 others. One is a locking 3.5 millimeter to LEMO connector for timecode. That's going to be great for a lot of different devices and make it super compatible with probably an ecosystem you're already working with. But we're also coming out with a special cable just for that RE Mini that's going to be 3.5 millimeter locking to right angle 5-pin timecode. And that's going to be a great cable to throw into your collection as well whenever you have to run up against a mini Alexa. Now, this is a big giant ENG camera. That is a wonderful cinema camera. What about for people who have mirrorless cameras and DSLRs? Well, this actually is our locking TRS to TRS cable. And this is actually outputting a mic level signal into this small body mirrorless camera. And it's actually, because it's a mic level, we're actually sending audio as well. It's acting just like a microphone would. There's a built-in scratch mic in the front of this that is actually putting its audio on the right channel, and on the left channel, we're actually putting timecode. And in a program like DaVinci Resolve, you could right-click on that footage and get that timecode, which is audio timecode, and convert it to metadata timecode. That makes BTS shooters like this able to sync up their behind-the-scenes footage show the audience on social media the before, how is the shot done? And then they could grab the exact frame and start here on our production stage where the after shot picks up. So the audience knows exactly what take they just watched the before for and the final for the movie. This also is great for wedding shooters who are shooting a lot of cameras all over the place and have a hard time syncing up because the distance from the stage and the audio drift that can occur just from the sheer distance of the front of the aisle. Now that's everything we need to think about the TC1 in terms of camera use. Let's talk about where the actual signal is generated on a film set, the sound card. And what's great about the TC1 is the fact that it can actually read timecode from your sound device's recorder or Zaxcom recorder, use that signal, and using our app and setting that unit as the master node, you could actually then take that signal to your phone and transmit it from your phone to the rest of your film set. Fantastic. And with one button, I could also do time of day, sync every single thing using the clock from my cell phone. The TC1 is a great piece of kit that you can use that is really going to help you in your next production. From here, the rest of the kind of stuff we're going to talk about today is going to be really the nitty gritty, and the stuff is all going to happen back at the desk. So I'll see you in a second. Is now ready for the nitty gritty, the slideshow, everything we're here to talk about in this presentation and in this announcement. And remember, if you have any questions about what you're seeing, drop them down in that comment section below up in the chat. We are grabbing those questions and we'll answer them at the very tail end of this presentation so you guys can have all the information you need about the new TC1 and TC-SL1. So let's get started. Here we have the anatomy of the TC1, and you may be saying to yourself, okay, this looks like a pretty simple box. So let's break down exactly what it is we're looking here. We have 3 different kinds of status lights that give you all indications of what's going on when your screen is put to sleep. So you can actually put the screen to sleep and get more battery life out of it. Up on the top side, that is our built-in microphone for scratch audio. Again, that's going to put that audio on the right-hand side of the audio track for all the DSLR and mirrorless people out there. The menu navigation is a simple wheel design, up and down and select by pushing in, and the power button also doubles as your back button. Now the back side of this is actually where some cool magic happens. As you can see here, we have that hard hook built into the actual unit, soft loop on a separate cold shoe mount that can be separated away, and it's a metal cold shoe mount with notches on the wheel to really lock it into place when you're doing a cold shoe. And underneath, we have a 1/4 to 3/8 thread mount, and of course our locking 3.5mm connector. Now I can't stress enough just how awesome our hook and loop is. Now I've got a close-up camera here on the side. Let me actually play to that close-up camera when you guys are ready. Let me show you just how strong it is. That is how strong our hook and loop is. It's not going to fall off your camera or whatever device you're turning it onto. So let me put it again, just push it, nothing big deal. And that is a really secure connection. We're really proud of all the little details on how the TC1 operates. Now, let's actually look at this big OLED screen that we have going on. It's got 400 lumens, making it very visible in all sorts of conditions. And the DPI density of the pixels are actually 150 DPI. As you can see from this photo, we've got little bitty icons that are very legible because of the DPI of this actual screen. As we move forward, let's talk about battery life. This is something that a lot of people are going to have concerns about. They're going to want to know. As you can see here, the Ambient Lock-It Nano is 25 hours. The Deity TC1 comes in at 28 hours. The Tentacle Sync E comes in at 34, and the Betso comes in at 50. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Andrew, why are you showing us a chart where you guys are not the best out there? It's because let's take a look at that little top of that chart where it says average workday, 12 hours. Every single timecode box that is wireless on the market meets and exceeds this by double, and we are no different. We're right there in the middle of the pack with the rest of the industry standards. Now let's take a look at timecode frame rate and accuracy, and that is the fact that we do 5 ppm accurate for our timecode generator built into every single device. It has a generator built in, so once it is wirelessly jammed, it is not drifting. And as you can see, through firmware optimization and compensation, we're hitting 1 frame drift every 72 hours. I can't stress that enough. That is an amazing feat that's all done through the fact that this is an ARM-based SoC running the TC1. And of course, we support all SMPTE time codes. Now let's talk about repairability. Something that a lot of people worry about when they have an internal lithium battery is, will this unit be able to be repairable? Do I need to ship it off to another country? Do I need to ship it to a service center? Or is this something I can do myself? Now let's talk about it. The main board itself is pretty straightforward. It's just a basic single one main board. From there though, the lithium ion battery that is plugged into it being the key word, actually uses a quick connector. No soldering required to swap out this battery. And to open the TC1, you can actually go right here to the side. Let me go back to that close-up camera. There's a little notch right here where you can put a plastic spludger tool, same kind of thing that you would open up any kind of electronics. Little plastic spludger you can pick up offline, and it'll crack open the back of this case without damaging the hard hook. Get into that unit, you can pop that battery out, disconnect the quick connector, pop a brand new one in, close it all up and snap it together, and you are good to go on your shoot. That, again, we're talking years down the line here, but I know this is a worry on day one purchases, and we want to kind of tell you guys what you're in for when you purchase a TC1. And we didn't go that far, we went even further, and that is the fact that the locking 3.5 millimeter is on its own separate circuit board, that it too uses a quick connector to the main board. So if you damage or think that it's getting worn out over years of use, you can swap this out as well without requiring any kind of solder. We want to make the TC1 as durable, rugged, and repairable as possible for you guys, the end user. Now let's talk about how our Bluetooth app works for control. Sidus Audio, developed by the same Sidus Link team from Aperture, developed the app for us, and of course it gives us control, monitor, and status of all the settings in our boxes up to 250 feet of range. Now this is going to let you do things like change the U-bets, change any kind of settings internally, even put things like your screen to sleep. You can do that all from the Sidus Link app. Again, up to 250 feet away from your phone. Now when it comes to RF syncing, how it works is you can actually go from TC1 to another TC1 using just the onboard menu, not using the phone, and you can actually get up to 30 feet sync. So if you were doing a morning prep and you had a table where you had a bunch of TC1s because you were going to do a reality show, you could take one of your TC1s, set it, jam it, then send it to the rest of your setup. That is super easy to do, and you can do it all from just the menu system, no phone required. But let's say we add that phone back to the mix. This is how syncing works with the phone. Now I've got it set up for this, for the TC-SL1 to be the master node, and I can get 250 feet of range sync to my master node. From there, I can do 30 feet sync from my master node to the rest of my set. And I use the TC-SL1 because often it's the thing that's going to be closest to all the cameras on set. And that makes it super easy to reach everything within that 30 feet or 60 feet diameter bubble around the timecode slate. But again, I should stress, you can also select a TC1 as your master node. So just a quick note. And let's actually now get into this TC-SL1. Here you can see we actually have two different kinds of timecode inputs. We have a 5-pin timecode connector that's compatible with all types of 5-pin LEMO connectors you may have. Pinout is standard and the same, as well as a 1/4 inch TRS jack. Now, why am I talking about this? Is the first thing in the feature when this thing does so many great things. I know you guys may already have a timecode system that you love. You may already be embedded and own many boxes from another brand. But if you're looking to buy just a slate, you're going to worry about whether or not those will work with this guy. And it can. All you got to do is take a hard wire connection, so any kind of 1/4 or 5-pin timecode cable from your device into this gun, and it will jam sync right to your devices. You could use it and easily add a slate, one piece at a time, into your current ecosystem. Now, the slate itself does have a protected power switch. This is, again, operational kind of stuff. It's really nitty gritty so that the camera team doesn't accidentally turn off your slate. It's more for just preventing mistakes. And when it comes to the actual unit, again, preventing mistakes. We know sometimes we forget the slate, or we do a take or we can't slate the front end and we need to do tail sticks. Instead of investing a lot of R&D and costing the sensors that don't get used as often, we actually found a simple switch is the easiest way to do it, and for us to drive the cost of the TC1 down into a place where it's affordable for everyone. And of course, the OLED display is the exact same OLED display as the TC1, and the menu navigation is identical too. It's the same wheel, same parts, making the ecosystem feel like a single cohesive design. So if you operate one, you can easily operate the other. The only big difference you'll notice on the displays here is the fact that the TC-SL1 offers up the battery display as an A and B setup, and we can get more into that here in a second. As we talk about size guide, we know people are going to be asking all sorts of things like, how big is this unit? Well, we've got a couple of other timecode slates that are up there for comparison. As you can see, the ambient is a full-size slate. We come in kind of as a medium size, and the Deity TC, the TSC, is a compact slate. Now, this is going to tell you kind of how big we are if you've got used to using certain slates in your workflow, how we kind of fit in there as well. Now, for those who have never used a timecode slate, this chart is for you. We're almost the same size as an iPad Air. We're just 1 inch thick instead of being super thin like an iPad Air, but the actual face of the TC-SL1 is nearly identical to that of an iPad Air. So if you're thinking about size-wise and you're trying to figure out how big it is, that's exactly what you can kind of think about. Now, we are talking about those battery systems. We talked about them a little bit earlier when we were showing them off on the set, as well as kind of that the OLED display does feature both batteries. They are MPF 550 batteries. What's great about that is it's a common battery that camera departments already are set up to charge for. So there's no extra thing that you need to add to your workflow. Plus, we are going to be including a USB-C charger because the actual slate can charge up the batteries themselves. So if you're on a short gig, 1-2 days, and you need to charge it up yourself at your house, easily doable by a USB-C. If you're on a long show run or feature, the camera team can actually take care of those charging of the batteries on all their infrastructure that's already built into their carts. We really try to think this one out. And because it can operate on just one MPF, the B slot can be open. So when you're low on battery, you can swap in a battery on B, take out the one out of A, and never power down your slate, never lose sync, and just keep on operating for the rest of your day. Now, the actual slate itself is milled out of a single piece of aluminum. So the whole chassis is seamless in the fact that there is no cracks in the metal on the corners, around the switches, anything like that is sealed out of one piece of aluminum. Very sturdy design. Everything goes through one direction right through the face, making it super easy to repair, heat up the face, take it off, and you get access to everything. There's no weird kind of having to worry about extra screws or anything like that. Just to put the chassis together, one simple design, clean and feels great in the hands. Now let's talk again about that MPF battery because we also went as far as making our own MPF batteries. Now the slate will operate with other brands of MPF batteries, so if you own some, no problem. Why did we make our own? Well, because we made one that is just significantly bigger than the average MPF battery that's currently on the market. The average is somewhere around 14 to 18. We're coming in at 24.79 watt hours, nearly 32% more capacity than the standard battery. This is actually going to be great because 2 of them are included with the slate. Now let's get into the heart of the whole ecosystem, Zydus Audio app. Here you can see you just quickly add your devices. You hit the plus and your devices will show up because they've never been registered to a phone before. Once you sync them all up, you're going to be presented with this main screen. Now let's pay attention to the top part of this main screen. Here you can see the master node and what it's reading for time code and frame rate. From there we can send out with a sync all pulse to the master node and actually get this menu right here. Either we can edit the master node's timecode immediately, quick and easy, or we could do a time of day operation using the clock's phone. Now, when we actually are on the master display of all the devices, we can also get all this metadata information. As you can see, we have 2 boxes here, camera 1, camera 2. The camera 1 is set up as the master node. That's denoted by the yellow icon. You only have one master node on all devices unless you do multiple groups. Talk about that here in a second. As you can see, we can monitor battery life of all of our devices up to 250 feet away, as well as Bluetooth signal, and get a reference time code to see as it ticks away, as well as the serial number, and do individual syncing if need be. From here, you can actually also click on any one of those and you'll get your settings menu. You can again change your time code, change your U-bits, change your frame rate, and of course change it from LTC, which is a line level time code signal out, to a mic level, which also includes the audio from the scratch mic. This is great for DSLRs and mirrorless camera operators. And groups, as I talked earlier, we could have multiple master nodes in different groups, and from here we we could group it together. I was talking to a sound mixer just the other day who was excited about this feature because he had an EPK team on his feature film. They were shooting at 30 frames a second for broadcast. His film was shooting 29, I'm sorry, 23. And yet he was having to provide time code to the BTS EPK crew. He could easily have just made a group with just the boxes and the audio recorder they were using, send over a 30 frames a second signal to them, and keep the rest of his team on the 23.98 signal. And he can manage and detect any kind of shifts if there is any problems that they're having as well, all remotely from his phone using groups. This is great for the biggest productions out there. And what's awesome is the fact that Sidus Audio is available on iOS, macOS, and Android starting today. You could actually go to any one of these app stores, type in Sidus Audio, and you're going to find us up there. And what's great about Sidus Audio app today, even though you don't have the hardware, there's a demo mode. If you hit the menu in the upper left-hand corner, you will get a demo mode in which you can detect and see just how the hardware interacts, how you can interact with the menus, how you can do the groupings yourself, and really play with the concept of how it's going to work for you on the day of when you do get your hardware. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing and what's included. Here's the TC1. It is going to be $169 starting today. Pre-orders launched at all major dealers today. And of course, it's going to only be that $169. Shipping will be middle of June. And what's included with the TC1 is a timecode box, the cold shoe mount, the cable you need for DSLR and mirrorless cameras, and a charging cable. And remember, this is early bird pricing. This is going to jump up to $199 after August, and that's going to be the regular price from going on forward. So this $169 is for all the early birds who get in and want to make Deity their new ecosystem. From there, we also have a 3-piece kit, and talking to a lot of professionals, they found they actually needed 3, not 2, so we made a 3-piece kit. And that 3-piece kit really takes advantage of that early bird pricing because that's going to be the standard price forever. $549 is going to be the standard price going forward. So if you take the 3 prices, add those cables, you actually still save money. And when the units go back up to $199, this becomes a heck of a lot of good deal because you're going to save $50 on just the boxes, and then you're going to get kind of the cables for free. So this is a great value going forward. If you're looking to switch into the Deity ecosystem, I highly suggest the 3-piece kit. And the TC-SL1, the flagship of our ecosystem, the slate itself. This thing is going to come with a 30-watt charger, so you're going to get a little bit more extra room. That's going to be able to definitely take advantage of the 25-watt USB-C port on the TC-SL1. You're going to get the TC-SL1 itself, of course. You're going to get 2 of those Deity batteries included, and you're going to get an awesome carrying case. And I can't stress this enough. Pre-orders are open at all major dealers today, so if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I can call my sales rep at my local dealer, reach out to them. They can place your pre-order starting today. TC1s are going to ship in middle of June along with all the cables. The TC-SL1 will be shipping at the end of August. So if you've got any kind of questions, we're going to now go into our Q&A section. Our team has been grabbing different kinds of questions throughout this broadcast. But again, if you have more, keep dropping them in that chat. They'll be able to go and grab them and get those questions answered. First question up is, third-party NPF batteries, will they work with the TC-SL1? Of course. They're going to work just fine with the TC-SL1. No problem there. They just may not have the same capacity as the one that we actually made ourselves. Because again, they only average around 14 to 18 watt hours. Ours is 24. But at 24 watt hours, we determined that the current prototype model will get around nearly 25 hours of runtime if you leave the sticks up and the backlight on of a basic NPF battery, one battery. 2 of them, we're getting nearly 50 hours. But again, it's coming out to about 1 watt hour per hour is actually being utilized by the TC1 prototype here in front of me. If the slate is connected to a tentacle sync, do you get to keep it connected at all times? No, you don't have to keep it connected at all times. If you do a tentacle sync, you could take your tentacle sync box. I'll use the TC1 box as an example. I could take it, I could take my cable right here, do a locking connector, set it to take input and jam. All I have to do is take my cable, plug it in, it'll immediately detect, and I could unplug it. And there you go, it's immediately jammed and is generating, and you're good to go. No need to keep it all hooked up. How does this work with the BBTRX? Great question. Well, because every single TC1 box includes that locking TRS to TRS cable, you can take your TC1 box, jam it into your BBTRX at the beginning of the morning, jam that time code, set it all. It's going to lock into the exact same time code as your box. Record on your BPTRX for the rest of the day. Place this on your camera, and those two files will sync up perfectly in post. Is there a holder for the external timecode device on the back of holder? I think you mean handle. There is. There's a handle built in and a thumb notch, so I can operate this. Let me pull out our little stopper so I can actually operate it. Yeah, and there you go. So there we've got timecode, one-handed operation. I can even do tail sticks. Pretty cool little handle built into it. Can the Deity MPF batteries work on non-Deity products? Yeah, again, absolutely. The voltage is the same. It's just the extra watt hours mean we have more capacity. We're using really high-end LG cells that are like, I think 3350 milliamp hours at that, nominal 18650 or 18650 voltage. So it is really just pushing capacity, not changing the voltage of the actual cell packs. If you need to change the time code via tentacle sync, will it automatically reflect on the sync? So here's what's really cool. If you need something, and we're going to take Tentacle, but I'm also going to include ComTech, because I know a lot of music video people will put a ComTech right on the back of their slate and then put it in. So as they change the time code in the Pro Tools session, automatically it gets updated on the slate via the ComTech. The same thing's capable here. If you're in the input mode on your slate and you're feeding time code and it changes the time code from like hour 10 and you jump all the way to hour 2, 8-hour jump, a little too much, but you get the point. Like, it could be a music video where it's only 3 or 4 minutes. It'll automatically reflect on the slate instantly. So no problem there. If you want to keep it all synced up and put a tentacle on the back just so you can change the time code remotely via their app, totally will work, no problem. Again, also works for music videos. If you have questions about how that music video situation works with ComTech, we actually have a video on our YouTube channel. Anything else you want to say? I mean, yeah, it's just, I want to say that, again, pre-orders are open today. The website's live. If you go to deitymic.com, you will actually see timecode products right there on the home page. You can click that Learn More button and see all of the brand new timecode products that we just announced. And from there, you can learn all about them. Contact your local dealer, whoever it is you buy from, reach out to them. They probably can place an order for you right now. And again, I can't stress enough, this will be shipping in just a little bit, middle of June. This will be shipping at the end of July. If we're done with comments and questions, we're gonna wrap this one up for you guys. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. I'm Andrew from Deity Microphones. Hope you have a wonderful day.